then go straight to second reading at the time the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Justice deems it appropriate after consulting to see that the committee is now ready to present its report. Thereafter, we'll then do the committee stage of the bill itself. The members of Parliament will go through the bill clause by clause. And it is at that stage where if there are any amendments that need to be made, they are made at that stage. If there are no amendments, we proceed to the third reading, and then the bill will be referred to the next side. So that's where we are. I aim to get submissions and I was out of the office last week from Thursday. I'm going through submissions that came before midnight last night. But I tell you.
Right. From I don't know in the panel zandani kuzishoma.
Okay.
Saka what he is saying Arukutizo now that the 90 days is over, they are now putting together the submissions which were done by the people, and all the submissions that were done before were categorized and all that, and now they are now working with the reports that came last. Once they are done with that, they will then it will come for the second reading. Then when at the second reading, then the Minister of Justice will be explaining what amendments are going to be taken place and all that. Then the parliamentary committees will go out and discuss these things, which when they come back at the third reading, then they will bring their submission from their committees and each committee's recommendation, and at that stage they will be looking at the bill clause by clause, and they will then be, if there are any amendments to be made, the amendment will be made at that point. If there are no amendments, then it will then it will be referred to the second house. That's where he ended. I don't know, can apana zvimemanzwa zvimwe in addition?
Napana chandanzwa.
Well, apama chamanzwa. Okay, all right.
So faint,
okay,
but ndanzwa.
You can then maybe on your phone at your own pleasure, you can read it. We can listen to it, and and what I might do, what I might also do is to put it through my editing software and boost the volume and resend it to you.
All right. Okay.
But in essence, what they are saying is it is now the parliamentary processes, which is how they are putting together a report around all the submissions and everything, and then it will be presented to the parliamentary committee to debate. And also they are also going to, I think they have got some committees which will then deliberate. But what he never mentioned was about the voting process. He never mentioned about the voting process.
No. What it means is that he is just putting the normal process of Parliament, how Parliament operates. What it means is that the first reading was done, and then now they are on the stage of the second reading, which now, after compiling or after having received all the proposition from the general public and institutions, if ever any, then they will put them in one basket. Then the parliamentary committees will be formed. These are the committees that will go right around the country, reading this and making people understand what is contained in the proposals that would have been brought. In this case, it's not like a referendum where you say yes or no, but it will be explaining what the people sent, and the very same people that are perceived to have sent those recommendations or those thoughts are explained. After that, then they come back. Those committees that would have gone right around the country explaining, they will come now with the information that comes from the people. What are the feelings of the people? What generally people expect from this, and eventually endorsing it. Then it will come for the third reading, which is the final stage. When it goes to he says it will go to the lower house or upper house.
The upper house.
The upper house. Yeah. So then it goes to upper house, which is the Senate, for debate. Then they'll debate it, and like he says, now this time they will be going line by line, paragraph by paragraph, page by page, until they are satisfied, and they express their differences, their agreements. Then they see which one is greater. Once that is done, and the majority of parliamentarians have adopted it and a resolution has passed, then it is now effectively going for the last stage, which is the third reading. That's when now everything will be put in place and it becomes a law. By the way, there is a portfolio, a legal portfolio committee in the house, both houses, who are now going to simplify, put it into a legal language. Then it comes, if it passes, then it becomes a bill. And once the president signs it, then it becomes law. So that's the stages he's explaining, which that's where we are.
Maybe the question that an ordinary Zimbabwean might have is, how is the parliamentary process goes hand in hand with the legal challenges in the Constitutional Court?
Yes, that does not affect the Constitutional Court. Either the Constitutional Court or the presentation, because there's no induction that was applied for. It was an application that cited some respondent, and the parliament will play as if nothing is happening, nothing is in the court, because they have not been cited as a part of the proceeding or the litigation. And yes, there is an application by by Spanda, who is talking about the same thing, or stopping the Parliament from proceeding with the reading of these provisions that are being proposed to be amended. So, if that application in the court indict the Parliament in order to proceed, they will not proceed. But unless there is that judgment, the application does not stop them from proceeding unless there is an indictment by the court. Hello?
For that judgment, I can hear you.
Yes. So if
So
if
which means
there is
the judgment in the High Court had
yes,
said the parliamentary process should stop, then they would have stopped.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, all right.
If there was an application or what we call the ex parte application to suspend the proceedings of Parliament until the main application is heard, then they will not have proceeded. But if there is no ex parte application against Parliament that seeks to stop Parliament from proceedings until the main application has been heard, they will continue as if there is nothing. But that does not mean the case will not be heard. The case will be heard after the proceedings in the court. If the applicant wins, then whatever would have discussed or any process that is on course is declared null and void, because the court has ruled that the process was not proper, or it is illegal, and it cannot be a deciding factor. So they will stop whatever the process, whatever the stage there will be, then it will be suspended.
Okay.
It could, yes, it could be sin and die. That the process in Parliament is illegal, so it should not proceed.
Okay. Let me just reiterate. Let me just reiterate it for our listeners. The parliamentary process will proceed as if nothing is before the courts, and they will just go their normal process of whether they are going to adopt or not adopt. It is going to be signed or not signed, as if there is no challenge in the courts. Now, Comrade Whitehead, now let's come to the Constitutional Court hearing that was done today, which is the main one, being represented by Professor Manduku. From the social media that I have seen, it has not given any ruling. It is, I think it is adjourned to say they are going to look into the evidence that is being presented, but he has hinted that there is a possibility of maybe granting the citizens of Zimbabwe a referendum, or the case might be thrown out. What was your initial feeling or response to that outcome?
No, the outcome is procedural. the outcome means nothing really. It's not that the matter has died or the matter is going to die. It does not suggest that. It simply says the judges or the court has heard the submissions by both parties, and therefore they are going to make some notes out of those submissions and come up with a decision. But again, that does not stop the parliament from proceeding, because there is no indictment issued against the parliament. So the process of saying, yes, we are going to listen, and the proposition by the judge, or it's not even a proposition, it's an analysis by the judge, that in any litigation, there are two sides. Those two sides, one of them can cancel the other side by giving a judgment that is against the other party. But the process will continue as it is. So in its ruling, when the judge says, after having listened to both sides, and they come up with that, no, this matter has to go to Congress, then they'll make, referendum. Then the court will make its pronouncement, and they say we are convinced by these reasons. Therefore, we are our judgment is that the matter should go to referendum. Then the process that is being referred to by the speaker, by the clerk of parliament, ceases to operate immediately, and cancels whatever stage they would have reached. It will be considered as if nothing has happened, or anything has ever happened. So it will be viewed just as nothing that has happened. It cannot influence anything. It's directed, is by the judgment of the court to say the matter be referred to referendum. So the parliament now will have to cancel everything they would have done, and they call now to put up committees that are going to conduct the referendum. Then a referendum will be called and the date put in place, and which will be gazetted by the minister, and say on such a date there is a referendum. That's how the process works.
Let's come back. Let's suppose we have been granted a referendum, and we go to the referendum, and as we know, the electoral machine of ZANU-PF is well oiled, and in the referendum, then it comes as a yes, we are adopting the CAP 3. Do we still come? Does the parliament then resume from where it ended, or it will start all over again?
It's not easy to rig the referendum outcome. They can try that. The good thing about the referendum, it does not call for political parties. It calls for citizens. And the outcome will be decided by what comes out of the people. Suppose the West comes in, that the people have said, no, we vote yes, that the president's term must be extended. Then from there, the parliament again will now sit again and they converse over that outcome of a referendum, and they endorse. Therefore, there is no need for all these processes that they are going through. They will simply say the people have spoken by majority. The extension goes ahead, and then in that bill, then they will now put some guidelines. What does it mean? And what will be the impact in future? What are the mitigation factors that are going to prevent from something that should not happen, or prevent something of like to happen in the near future? That will definitely be the technocrats now putting it into a proper perspective on how they are going to move forward with that. If the president is now, I mean, if the term of the president has been now allowed to be amended, or it will be amended, it does not mean that they'll go and reopen the case at Parliament, because the arbiter will be the masses through referendum. Once that is done, there is no need for a Parliament again to come and sit and deliberate over the same thing as they are doing now. It will automatically endorse the 2030 of the extension of the president to whatever period. That's all. Because going to the people, you are simply going there to seek the mandate that we want to extend the term of office of the president. Do you agree or not? This is why there's always one question, one answer, yes or no. So you are asked the question, is either you are for or you are against. So that's the procedure. This process that we are seeing happening in Parliament and all the other.
Sorry. I think I had muted you and accidentally.
Okay.
Now the other, it raises another question. You say the referendum is a yes or no question, and now our CAB 3 has got 21 provisions. How do then people then decide whether they are maybe they might be agreeing with the powers of the military being taken away, but they want the president. They don't want the president going on, or there's another aspect of the CAB that they don't want, but there are some other aspects that they want.
The referendum is not called for all the 21 amendments. The referendum is called because there is a provision, or there is an inclusion of the extension of the president. That's the only thing that need among the 21 propositions or proposals to amend the constitution. There's only one out of those that demands a referendum. The rest can be done without a referendum. But if the referendum says yes, then it has covered all of them. There will be no second litigation to say, no, we can agree with the 2030 agenda, but we do not agree with this one. Because the only thing that is constitutionally required to look like is the extension of the president, and that's what is called. That's what calls for to reach it to that level of discussion or act. It has to be subjected to a referendum. So that's the only matter that is being taken to referendum. The rest are sidelines. they would just follow. For instance, if you remove the extension of the term, the extension of the presidency's term, then there is no need going for referendum. You can remove that one. Those others now can go to a parliamentary committee because they don't require a referendum for them to be amended.
Okay. Thank you very much for that clarification. Then the next question is, if we go to the referendum and a no prevails, what does that mean? Does that mean everything ceases?
Yes, once the people say no, and the majority is recorded to have said no, that means the election cycle remains at 5 years, a 5-year term. The president will not be able now to surpass 2008. The president will have to find his successor who is going to contest the election scheduled for 2028. So there will be no proceedings, no any other argument. It has been rejected, that's it. So we go where we want today. So it will be a question of as we were. So the councils, the MPs, and the presidential term remains the same. There will be no any further litigation.
Thank you very much.
Referendum is no appeal and it cannot be litigated.
Okay, now it comes to our next question. Between now and whatever the parliamentary process and the legal process, what will be the role of the citizen? Because the citizen are saying they are saying no to CAP 3. So what can they do? What will they be doing now?
No, the citizens' position now is that no to amendment of the Constitution. They are saying no to it in its entirety. They are not choosing one or two other things. No to the term extension for the president. So if they win and they say no, the majority say no, and they are declared the winners. Therefore, everything else stops to function, except that we simply remain with our 2013 constitution, which demands that a president shall serve a 10-year term, a 5-year term of 10 years. So, which are 2 terms, because each term is given 5 years, the second one 5 years, then thereafter nothing. So we are back at 2013, and we use that constitution which governs even the local government and the central government, how they should do or what is their length of time in parliament. So there will be no extension of anything, or it will simply go back to 2013. That's all.
Thank you. I think we have
because you cannot appeal against the referendum. That's the good of referendum. There is no court that can reverse the decision of the Congress. But here again, on the same note, maybe is also, let me explain this again. In the event that the people of Zimbabwe, how does this, how can the Congress be declared null and void? There are two things. If the Congress is conducted under a violent manner, so its decision cannot be taken for yes. The other aspect is Zimbabwe has, for instance, if what the statistics are correct, 16 point something million of Zimbabweans who holds the national identification card, and they are above 18. So, and those who attend these consultations or the process of yes or no, only 1 million or 500,000 cast their vote, and the rest don't participate, then it will be that reason or that that resolution by the citizens will be considered null and void because it falls far below the population of Zimbabwe. You cannot say 500,000 people have taken a decision for 16 million people. But if the majority goes up to half or plus one of the total population, then the bill passes or fails based on the percentage of the people who participated. If they achieve 50 plus one.
Or 50 plus one. Or that will cater for the situation where maybe the ruling party will make the process so violent only that their members who participate in the referendum, and by that their membership will never be a 50 plus one of the general population. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. So if the referendum, the process of referendum is declared violent, therefore the decision coming out of that violent situation can be considered to be null and void. It cannot be tested in the court of law or in the public court. It's null and void, so it will go back and say there was no referendum in Zimbabwe. So if there is no referendum in Zimbabwe, so what remains is that the scheduled elections will have to take place in 2028.
Okay, that's okay. So I think for today, because we don't want to overload our listeners, so I just want to give you an opportunity to give them your final thoughts and maybe any call for action.
Yeah, my call for action, Vamija, is always been that Zimbabwean people must identify who the problem is in Zimbabwe. That's very important. We are sitting here chasing the Bill 3, which is not the product of the people. It's a product of very few people in ZANU-PF and who do not represent the 2/3 majority of Zimbabwe. And what the citizens must do is to demand that there be election in 2028 in their numbers, and let the bill succeed or not, because when the majority of the people during the referendum say no, they must now be able to say our problem is ZANU-PF. So for us to hold better elections in 2028, ZANU-PF must go. So that beyond 2028, we have a completely new brand. We have a completely new political direction. So this, we are not going to look at anything else except to say we are a new government with its policies and principles, and which has been accepted by the people. Then they will formulate their laws. I know the first thing that they will be telling people is the rule of law, and the refusal of arbitrary amendment of the constitution. So I'm saying to the people of Zimbabwe, go back now. You have seen what is happening. You are all waiting for the court results. And if you go for referendum, go and vote no. And after that, you know who you are fighting. You are fighting ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is the one that brings all this confusion. So call for elections. Raise your voice in your numbers. Demand that the 2013 Constitution instruct that every year or every 5 years there shall be elections in Zimbabwe, which we call harmonized elections, which includes the council, the legislature, and the presidency. These are elected at every 10 or 5 years. They must be elected. So that's what we are demanding. But first of all, more importantly, is to identify who is your problem. Otherwise, simply saying, no, Mnangagwa is corrupt, Mnangagwa has destroyed the country, is not the answer to our problem. Because Mnangagwa has been given authority or by the enablers of corruption to put him into a position of leadership, so that he responds or he fulfills the ethos and ideas and the objectives of ZANU-PF, which he cannot stop alone. So let us understand this very clear, that our enemy is ZANU-PF. Mnangagwa is simple a servant of ZANU-PF and a key holder. He cannot on his own stop corruption. It has to be from ZANU-PF. Now the system that created ZANU-PF, the system that created Mnangagwa, is the system that we need to do away with. So let us be ready to go and express our no. And in the absence of that, let's prepare to call for election in 2028. These two should not be ignored. That they are what you are today because of these two scenarios. Do we need election now Do we need a referendum? Why do we want a referendum? If the answer, we don't need a referendum, so let's go for election in 2028. That's all that I can tell the people of Zimbabwe who are listening here, to say, let us not fall into other people's den or in the other people's traps. They will mislead us. All you need to know is that you have voiced yourselves that you don't want the extension of the president's term in office, and all other things that support that, you have said no to it. And once you have said no to it, who had actually produced this thing? Who is behind all these actions? Then the answer is, it is ZANU PF, not Mnangagwa as an individual. Mnangagwa is just a human being, just like me, like you and me. Therefore, he is a leader of an institution that has enabled him to squander and misuse power, misuse the military, misuse all other government institutions or all institutions of government. So it is ZANU-PF that has provided that ground, created the environment that thieves, that you call Ganandas and others, are able to survive within ZANU-PF. So 2028, let's go and remove ZANU-PF resoundingly. We vote resoundingly. We register to vote resoundingly. We participate. No apathy. Let's go for 2028 elections. Good night.
Thank you very much, Comrade Whitehead, and you have all listened to our conversation. It was around the CAB 3, the parliamentary process, and the legal challenge, and the encouragement of what is the role of the citizens now. And as Comrade Whitehead said, our role is to show that resoundingly we don't want CAB 3. And if we bring the referendum our way, we resoundingly vote no and demand elections for 2028 and give ZANU-PF a red card. So this is the first of many programs on Dare Ramija. I think all the other next ones we might be talking in our vernacular language. We will be revisiting the reason why we went to war, who participated, who are the actual heroes of our liberation struggle. Is it only the war veterans? Maybe not. There were also the collaborators, or there were also the masses. So stay tuned on this, on Champion Network TV and NDWG Global TV or Mbire TV, so that you can hear all this conversation on the program Dare Ramija. Stay tuned and give your comments. If there are any other topics that you want us to cover, just put it in the comment box, and we will discuss it, and we will be bringing more of these seasoned people of Zimbabwe, like Comrade Whitehead and any other seasoned people of our nation. So stay tuned. For now, we say good night or good day wherever you are. Thank you.